Hello everybody, welcome back for another News I Missed video where I go over news that I missed during the week. To start things off, Charles Hoskinson, who is the founder of Cardano and co-founder of Ethereum, said that he did not think that Ethereum would succeed after he left the team. During a conversation with Infodagata, Charles was asked about why he branched out from Ethereum and decided not to complete the project. This was followed by him disclosing the reason behind leaving the Ethereum Foundation. According to him, there was a lack of rigorous structure and discipline. He believes that these are the recipe for too much indulgence. He said, if you pay people completely upfront, you really shouldn't expect people to work hard. For example, if you have an electrician and you say, rewire my whole house and here's all the money to do it, he would be like, might as well just show up on Wednesday, right? But what can you do? You've already paid the guy. You pay him after, so he has some motivation to do the job, end quote. Prior to this statement, Charles said that at the initial point, the foundation was divided into two groups. One was the business group and the other was the tech group. The teams had to decide on how to build the project. For this, they had two choices: become a for-profit company like Ripple, which they called Crypto Google, or become a non-profit company, which they called Crypto Mozilla. This led to a distress between the business side and the tech side of the foundation, with the business side preferring Crypto Google and the tech side preferring Crypto Mozilla. However, the co-founder of Ethereum had stated that his main concern was that there was no proper structure in the project. This would have led to the burn of the whole capital before the launch of the product and result in a lot of problems. Succeeding this, Vitalik Buterin, who is the co-founder of Ethereum as well, took a call and declared that Ethereum would be a non-profit company such as Crypto Mozilla. Charles said that he was frustrated about not having a great experience with BitShares and Ethereum, after which he was tensed about whether to come back to cryptocurrency space or simply do something outside of it. However, the speech he delivered in Bermuda during a TED Talk about what he learned helped him realize that there was still one thing left for him to do in this space. I thought it was quite interesting that he noticed, or rather he mentioned at a certain point, this would be a burn of capital, kind of. I mentioned this way back when there was an issue with Ethereum when they were first trying to... They had their ICO. Their ICO was done, and then the Ethereum project had officially launched. And the same exact way that a lot of other people are talking about that this coin is a scam and this coin is this, and I can't believe this coin exists. Why would you go into this centralized so-and-so? The exact same things that you hear about that or other coins that people are saying, the same exact thing was mentioned about Ethereum to a T. Every single bit. Everyone thought it was a complete sham. Everyone thought it was fake because everyone thought that any coin that was not Bitcoin simply had no value, that every other coin, especially when Ethereum came out, people could not pronounce Ethereum. And therefore, they thought it was some type of a cash grab or some sort of a scam. And midway through, and now that he's mentioning that there was a lot of friction in the entire thing and people who wanted it to be for money and also some type of a non-profit organization type thing, a couple of months, I want to say maybe even like less than a year after Ethereum had officially started, there wasn't a major pickup in the market yet. This was one of like the in-between years kind of. And Ethereum's price, I think, I don't remember exactly how low it had fallen, but it wasn't good for Ethereum. And Vitalik had actually come forward saying that they would actually, they were thinking of stopping the entire project simply because the price was too low. Lo and behold, like a week and a half later, the price of Ethereum actually skyrocketed. I assume that they had received a bit of funding, or someone told them that they would push up the volume or something on the thing, because about 3.5 months after that, this is when Vitalik was constantly in the news talking about the Ethereum project and how great it was. And he even mentioned a couple of times that they actually had just about run out of money. All the money that they had gotten from it, first of all, the crypto prices were not only low, but they were spending so much money on traveling around the world and doing all these other things, and people weren't paying attention to them because they thought that Ethereum was a scam. Just a little bit of an odd history lesson. It's very interesting to see where crypto projects were and where they are right now, and how people at the beginning are so not uninformed, but they just don't really know what's going on. So they assume that everything just has to be a scam because I've never heard of it. My friends never heard of it. My friends' told me it was a scam. Therefore, I won't get into it. Anyway, that's kind of besides the point. Charles Hoskinson, Cardano's creator, has been in the news quite often the last couple of weeks. very vocal about things that are happening in the cryptocurrency space, about what he likes, what he does not like. It's very interesting. I feel like, I mean, I don't know him. I feel like he's a bit of an odd dog out. Is that a saying? Odd person out? He's not odd, but like he seems a bit out of the space, and that it seems like he's trying to do something that other people didn't want to do. Whatever he does, I hope he succeeds in it, kind of, because I'm pretty sure he also has some type of connection to the Ripple team as well. And a lot of people in the cryptocurrency space, when they are part of a project, like Vitalik was also part of the Bitcoin project, and at some point he left it to create Ethereum. And then you kind of bring in other people, and when someone disagrees with anything, they kind of leave the project completely, and they end up making their own coin. And it's kind of, I don't know, it's very interesting that we've entered a world where people don't like the former projects. They create their own projects, and they bring new people in, and half of those people don't like that project, and they go to another project and they bring more people in, and half those people don't like it. Like even one of the other original developers of Bitcoin from a couple of years ago, I forgot the name of the coin. He recently said also that he's also creating his new coin. There was someone else who I think was part of BitShares, and he said that he figured out the mathematical solution to everything, and he is going to create the brand new. And that is like, everyone is kind of, you know, falling off of a tree that doesn't really have many branches left, kind of. But he's been very, like I said, he's been very vocal recently, and he hasn't been for any projects except for his own, which he says that he hopes will eventually become the first $1 trillion cryptocurrency, not in price, but in whole market cap. If Cardano reaches $1 trillion a coin, that means that the world's economy, we are using rocks again, because nothing is worth anything. Anyway, let's move on from here. Next up, a new stablecoin is entering the cryptocurrency market. In order to do so, a company called The White Company and Fintech Limited signed a partnership to introduce a stablecoin to Fintech's Interstellar Decentralized Exchange, or their DEX. The cryptocurrency is known as White Standard Stablecoin, or WSD, and has already been integrated into the exchange. In the future, new stablecoins pegged to other fiat currencies will be incorporated. This is number 16, 17. This one is based off of Stellar, or coming to the Stellar platform. I'm not surprised that this has been launched. I'm pretty sure that at least every major platform has at least one stablecoin built on top of them, or something is based off of them, or there are other things planned to have these other stablecoins being built. I don't think stablecoins are ever going to end. I still don't think that we're going to have all of these stablecoins next year, but I guess for what it's worth, I guess it's okay. It feels like this is the new cash grab, kind of. You know, we don't logically need 1,900 cryptocurrencies. I've said before, maybe 150, maybe 200 is like everything that we probably need. If you build up these platforms and the infrastructure and stuff like that, you can pretty much build and do everything that you want on these 200 coins. And I don't think that we need 100 stable coins, which I'm pretty sure that we're going to have at some point. But anyway, this is number 16. I'm pretty sure we're going to have number 17 and 18 sometime in the upcoming days, not even weeks, because everyone seems to be, keep in mind, all of the news that we're getting about all these stable coins launching is also coinciding with the prices of the cryptocurrency market also going up. It seems like everyone is trying to make sure that other people in the crypto sphere know that their stablecoin exists, so that they can start using their stablecoin on different platforms. But like I said before, Tether cannot do it all. I don't foresee a future where Tether has 100 billion Tether. I hope there isn't a future where Tether has 100 billion Tether. So it has to be spread out at least equally in some sort of way throughout other stablecoins that we have on the market. Next up, a new study published in Springer's Environmental Systems and Decisions journal called Cryptocurrency: Governance for What Was Meant to Be Ungovernable appears to confirm this, analyzing over 800 unique forks of different coins based on Bitcoin. Spearheading this research effort, lead author Benjamin Trump found that some of these software changes have damaged the stability of cryptocurrencies. He said, at a minimum, hard fork growth presents a potential roadblock to the mainstream adoption of select cryptocurrencies. and potentially a threat to the cryptocurrency's ability to maintain a stable and predictable operating platform that is essential to its use as guarantor for daily financial transactions. Without reading the entirety of the article, there are a lot of people, you may have noticed sometime last year when Bitcoin Cash was first being forked or created or birthed, it was all over the news simply because Bitcoin is only meant to ever have 21 million coins, but when you separate a coin and split it in half and have more or less the exact same code, you then have doubled, essentially, the number of Bitcoin that will ever be created. You may give it a different name, you may say what you want, but when it comes down to investors who are looking into putting their money into certain coins, a lot of investors now are trying to desperately look for coins that cannot be forked. So that you cannot simply create another one. The problem with Bitcoin is now, problem, quote unquote, is that its name is so large that everybody wants a slice of the pie. And when you want a slice of the pie, you simply just fork the code and you create your own Bitcoin. And this is why after Bitcoin Gold, we more or less stopped hearing about the forks. Like we had Bitcoin Diamond, which was next. And after that, you don't hear any more. And I had a list a couple of weeks ago that I was telling everyone about, and I was showing you how many forks that we've had on Bitcoin and how I didn't think that these forks would ever stop. Eventually, people will stop talking about them, but they will always kind of be a smudge not a smudge on Bitcoin. I don't want to say that's a little bit too extreme. It just pretty much comes down to there are so many people who are trying to cash grab right now. They're trying to make any type of coin. I remember sometime at the beginning of 2018, especially late 2017, there were so many websites, and when you looked through them, and people kept on telling me, especially at the beginning of me making this channel, or rather like before I got as big as I did now, and people were telling me to look at this ICO, to look at this website, and I would look at them and they looked like they were made by like a 7-year-old. They were just completely ridiculous, and they said that they were a fork of Bitcoin and they could do this and they were going to do this and they were going to revolutionize the world, and they were like really weird websites where they would like send us 0.01 Bitcoin and we'll send you this much of this other coin. And when you have things like that in a market that you're trying to show that has matured or isn't as ridiculous as it used to be in the past, I don't know. We're going to continue seeing hard forks whether we like it or not. I think there's also something with Bitcoin Cash potentially having a hard fork or something along those lines. Who knows? The point is these are going to continue to happen, but like I said, what's going to end up happening is, at least I think so, is that a number of as more money gets into the cryptocurrency space, we're going to hear less and less about any forks happening. Even if we have 38,000 forks in one day, someone creates a program that forks every single coin 350 times, we're going to have, no one's going to mention these anymore because it kind of destroys the trust in the cryptocurrency, the money that we already have out there. This is at least how it's explained by a lot of economists and stuff like that who are trying to, like I said, look for coins that cannot be forked so they can put their money into them so that they can desperately say there's only this many coins, there can never be any more created, or just trying to, I guess, put their money into the winners regardless of how many hard forks they have. But Bitcoin is definitely going to be forked thousands of times, at least within our lifetime. That's at least how I see it. Mr. Draper is in the news once again. Venture capitalist Tim Draper is not giving up and still thinks that Bitcoin will hit new heights in the coming years. The Street recently interviewed Draper in California as the Crypto Finance Conference. He said that he expects Bitcoin to trade at around $250,000 by 2022. That is 3.5 years from now, a target that he first revealed in June of this year. However, since then, Bitcoin's price hasn't recovered, trading around 60% down from its year-to-date high. Still, Draper looks confident that a long-term bull trend will come. Moreover, he recommended investors not to be scared by new bottoms, but rather jump in when the price dips. Tim Draper is more or less probably the most bullish person. Him and Mr. McAfee. I think John McAfee was also in the news a couple of days ago. I definitely don't have the tab open up here. He was interviewed by someone, and he said that he still thinks that we are still on the right path, that in a year and a half, Bitcoin will be worth $1 million. Tim Draper's is a bit more conservative. We still have the estimates that by 2019, Bitcoin will be 100,000. Don't know when that's going to happen. We would need a proper bull run in order for that to happen. But 250,000, 3.5 years, it seems a little believable, especially given, time and also the Bitcoin mining reward being cut in half in about a year and a half, 2 years. We've had a lot of predictions. You may have noticed I don't give as many price predictions anymore. In the beginning, they were kind of nice because they were scarce. Finding them, and you'd look for information from people who have been in this space for quite some time, or people who are analysts and or have worked on Wall Street, or they're just into finance in general, and this is kind of like their entire life. So you look for the price predictions, but we get like 30 every single day now, and some of them are just completely out there. Like the $100 million Bitcoin is a bit too much. The point is, we are, I want to say, probably going to see something like this. I don't know exactly how I feel about that, simply because I had another news story, this was weeks ago, where it was some analysts in Switzerland or something like that, and they had calculated, they said that if Bitcoin hits 250k a coin, that's enough to displace or get rid of the US dollar. But that's also like indicative of something like really bad happening. I'm not going to say exactly what, but that means like the world has more or less crumbled. And in situations like that, I kind of wonder like about the well-being of other people. Like when stock markets crash, millions of people around the world lose their jobs. And we haven't had a situation yet where or at least in this generation or the one before us, where an entire reserve currency has completely collapsed and is then taken over by something. That means that like there would be such a shift, and a lot of people would be negatively affected by this. So let's hope that there's a smooth transition into the world of Bitcoin taking over everything, because as of now, a lot of people still believe that it's definitely going to happen, and I think we'll get there at some point. So earlier this week, we had, what is it called? Weiss Ratings gave us their ratings, and lo and behold, at the same exact time, there's a company, institution, something like that, in China that gives cryptocurrency rankings. And I said I thought this was interesting because China has banned cryptocurrencies, and yet there are companies and organizations who I can only assume are funded by the Chinese government, as everything has to go through the Chinese government, and they still rank cryptocurrencies, which I said is weird because cryptocurrencies are banned in the country. The Chinese Center for Information Industry Development, or the CCID, an organization working under China's Ministry of Industry, like I just said, and Information Technology, posted rankings on Monday that revealed new aspects of its analytics or analysis of blockchain technology implementations by various cryptocurrencies. After months on low rankings, Bitcoin finally reached the top 10, jumping over 6 other coins since the last analysis was printed. For those who are listening, the top 10 coins are EOS, Ethereum, Komodo, Nebulas. Number 3 and 4 are coins we almost never hear about. Number 5 is Neo. 6 is Stellar. And then we have Lisk, GX Chain, Steam, and Bitcoin. And then we have Waves, BitShare, Stratus, blah, 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 without having to read through all of them. EOS is constantly making the number 1 list, and I think Ethereum has also moved up. I think at one point Ethereum, I don't know if it was on this list, but Ethereum was definitely around number 3 or number 4. People weren't too excited about that. Bitcoin was definitely a lot lower before as well. I wonder what changed it. Nothing technologically has really happened with Bitcoin. It could be, I think one of these graphs is like network integrity or something like that, or how strong the network actually is. I think as far as I know, unless I've been given wrong information over the last year or so, I think just because of how old Bitcoin is, I think it's the strongest blockchain that we have, simply because it has, if I'm not mistaken, the most transactions written on top of it, at least at the moment. But tech-wise, EOS usually scores very high, typically, across the board. So I'm pretty sure we're going to have a lot more of these. I still don't know why China's giving us these rankings if crypto's banned in the country. It kind of doesn't make a lot of sense. Anyway, these are the current rankings from China. Like I told you guys before, I don't think it's not a mistake. I don't think it's random that these things kind of come out. When people are, especially maybe China, are looking to get into the cryptocurrency space, especially like large investors and stuff like that, they tend to want a list or some type of ranking. So if we have these every single month and this goes on for about 2 years, this will be an indication, I want to say, for people who are looking to invest. They can look back, over the last 2 years, this coin was consistent and so and so and so. Who knows if this list will change? As of now, they've all been listing EOS at the very top, which is interesting as well, because we haven't really heard a lot from EOS since their launch. There hasn't been an enormous amount of news. There isn't an amount of hype that there was anymore. It could just be that they're using this time of non-major price hypes in order to be able to continue to develop the platform. Who knows? Next up, Tron is in the news. Tron has been listed on BitBay, which they say controls more than 70% of the market share in Poland. They have a bit more information. I don't really feel like reading through the entire thing. Tron has been listed on multiple exchanges over the last couple of weeks. I've gone over them more or less in the news I missed videos. There was BitBay. There was one from the other video that I did before this, and I think typically every video has about one or two news things about Tron being listed on another exchange. It's quite interesting how Tron has managed to spread itself out, if that makes a lot of if that makes a lot of sense. I still wonder exactly what impact this will have on Tron's price, because Tron isn't really in the news. When Tron is in the news, I'll put it that way. It's not that Tron is not in the news. When Tron is in the news, it's typically about a listing, or they're on an adult website when you can use them to buy diapers or something like that. It's always very random things. Nothing as far as the actual use case. I know the entire BitTorrent thing and the uTorrent. I know there's something there was news about that before, but nothing really concrete. So if they can keep on pumping the hype and get listed on every exchange in the entire world, I don't know how other exchanges work, but we had news before that in order to be listed on Coinbase and Binance and Gemini and Bitfinex, one of the bits, you have to have essentially millions of dollars. All the exchanges have denied this, but other cryptocurrency projects, multiple cryptocurrency projects, have all come forward and said they were sent emails and stuff like that said, hey, we know about your coin. You contacted us a couple of weeks ago about being listed. Here's our prices. And they ranged anywhere from $300,000 to $30 million for certain other projects, and just all kind of ridiculous. So I wonder how deep the Tron pockets are, that they're able to be listed on multiple other exchanges, because realistically, when you get your coin listed on another exchange, it tends to have a bit of an uptick in price. It's also going to have a semi-lasting effect as far as volume wise, when people will know that your coin is on an exchange and stuff like that. So you typically tends to pay in order to have your coin on an exchange. But Tron has been listed on a lot of different places over the last couple of weeks. So I wonder exactly how much money they've been spending, unless they're choosing exchanges that may only have $50,000 or maybe $100,000 to be listed on them. Anyway, let's move on. Salt is actually in the news. This is something that we never hear often. Salt, a blockchain firm that offers cryptocurrency-backed loans, announced on Tuesday that it would expand its business by launching operations in 15 more U.S. states, including Texas, Washington State, New Jersey, and Massachusetts. In addition, the company will expand overseas by reaching 7 countries, including Switzerland, Hong Kong, the United Arab Emirates, Brazil, Puerto Rico, Bermuda, and Vietnam. The move comes after another expansion wave held last month, in which Salt opened offices in 20 U.S. states. Thus, the firm is close to fulfilling its goal of operating in all 50 states. For those who can't see, they actually have a little map. So I guess it's not that much that's actually missing from there. I think, okay, this is actually a lot more than I thought that they would have. I don't see New York here, and that's because New York is typically a little ridiculous when it comes to that. But this is interesting in general. People were asking before, Salt is what? Okay, first of all, one, I'll be honest, I like the symbol. Two, I like the idea of peer-to-peer lending. I think that idea of lending other people money and being paid back with interest is also very interesting. When it comes to Salt, it's kind of the exact same thing. Like, you provide like crypto loans, if you will, and if you hold the Salt token, I think you get like incentivized in some way. I can't remember exactly how the platform runs because it's been quite a while, and people were asking before, like, what happened to Salt? Why don't we really hear about it anymore? And it kind of came down to regulations. When the entire world went crazy at the end of 2017 and Salt announced that they were launching, everyone was kind of taken by surprise because you had to have tons of paperwork, you had to have tons of everything in order to prove that you were legit, especially when you are trying to provide loans in cryptocurrencies. That is, you are going to be hampered down very quick by as many regulators as there are around the entire world. So it appears this entire time they were actually not done, that they were actually trying to figure out ways in order for them to be able to, actually get these loans and stuff like that, which I guess is kind of cool because the same exact thing with other, it was like Funfair also was quiet for a while, but they were also just working on getting their application processes and stuff like that done. I wonder exactly how big Salt will be. I know there are other lending platforms. I think there's like ETHLend, ETH Lend. But Salt is typically the one that's actually in the news. I don't really hear anything about ETHLend. Maybe it's just me. I told you guys before, I try to use anywhere from like 16 to 20 different websites when I try to find news, and I never see ETHLend listed. However, Salt is typically in the news. Sometimes I really wonder how far that they'll make it. I wonder if when we have another bull market, what will happen to the lending platform, because people like to be lent money. And it was a huge incentive, I think, because Salt was also trying to do something, I don't know if this still stands, where you didn't have to not give your personal information. It was like, if your credit score was bad or something like that in the States, you didn't have to give it to them. Like, it was just like blockchain based or something like that. There was some type of an escrow account with them. I'm not part of Salt. This is not a paid advertisement, so I don't exactly know how it works. But anyway, Salt is actually in the news if you were wondering, or if you are holding some Salt and you were like, what's going on there? I guess 2018 has been like their expansion year. They're trying to get around the entire world apparently, and they've chosen really good spaces. So let's hope that Salt actually ends up making it, because I think the coin is down a lot from its all-time high. So hopefully there is a bit of upside in the next couple of months, years with the Salt program. Next up, so I'm not going to even read into the entire thing. It's actually there's a developer or someone who is in the Monero space squad, friends, in that entire area. And he said that the reason that he actually chose Monero was simply because he looked at the code. It wasn't Bitcoin's code, and this was one of the main reasons why he got into it. He said that he kind of thinks that Monero is going to be one of the top coins. If I'm not mistaken, I think Monero was that other coin. If you guys remember a couple of weeks ago, it definitely wasn't Zcash. We had some type of, it was like a price prediction for the cryptocurrency space. It was like by the end of this year, it was like 2020. And then by 2030, and it said like the only coins that were going to have value, I think, were Monero and Bitcoin. And Monero was, I think, like $18,000, and Bitcoin was like $1 million or something like that. And like, I think XRP was like less than 1 cent. EOS was 0. I think Litecoin was like 40 and like stayed the same over the course of a 10-year period. It was just ridiculous prices. I don't even know who made that, and people are actually investigating the company who gave out those price predictions, and apparently they don't even exist. But one of the head people for Monero, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he's a head person, he said that one of the reasons that he jumped onto the project was simply because it was not like Bitcoin, because he believes that in the future that probably, he thinks that privacy coins will probably take over. This is a sentiment held by a lot of people. A lot of people don't think that any of the normal coins are going to make it in the next couple of years. I don't know if it's more of a like a dystopian type thing where you just assume that everything is going to kind of hit the fan or everything's going to kind of go wrong. But a lot of people do believe that Monero, Zcash, Dash, oh gosh, I can't remember the names of the other ones, that these are going to be the main coins that we have in a couple of years. As everyone has fled from fiat, they're looking for privacy, and therefore they will push their money into only privacy coins. At least that's how the theory goes. So JP Morgan Chase released like something. One of their strategists was predicting about like the future of the finance and stuff like that, and they said that they believe that the next financial crisis will happen as early as 2020. I got into finance, let's say around 2011, 2012, maybe 2013, somewhere around there. I was really I dove deep into it, and this is kind of how I merged over into cryptocurrencies. We've been hearing about speculation of the next world financial crisis for a number of years now. I remember even 2012, we were hearing about it as well. Apparently, they think it won't happen until 2020. There are a lot of other people who are still saying that it's going to happen this year. People also say it's going to happen next year. It is a bit odd because typically every 7 to 8 years, more or less, and kind of rounding it, this is typically when we have a stock market crash or markets begin to at least go into some type of a recession, like a heavy recession. The issue with the 2008 crisis is that nothing was actually solved. It was more like soft bandage. All they did was throw money at the problem. And this is where we are right now. And it's kind of weird that stocks are once again at all-time highs, which they typically are. There's always a yearly consecutive bull run before we have some type of a pullback because things have gotten too hot. Many analysts have been saying for quite some time that they think that stocks are incredibly overvalued, and people don't understand how high some of the valuations have gotten, especially when we have I think Apple and Amazon, if I'm not mistaken, are now trillion-dollar companies, and people are like, but why though? Why are the valuations so high? Point is, this is a major thing for cryptocurrencies. For those who do not know, we have been guessing because all we can do is guess. Bitcoin was created in 2009 after the financial crisis. And people have been wondering when we do eventually, because they do always happen, when we do have another financial crisis and or stock market crash or another major recession, what is going to happen to the prices of cryptocurrencies? I believe, that the people in traditional finance, the people who are into Wall Street, the people who are leaving Wall Street and moving over to cryptocurrencies, they see what's happening. I'm pretty sure they have a more of an inside eye than the rest of us do, in that they're probably in the office. They know the people who are making all the decisions and stuff like that. And this is why we've had news, what was it, a day ago or something like that 100 people or more have left a traditional finance recently, and they've all now working for Coinbase. And this kind of comes down to, I think that they see what's happening, and this is why they're moving over into crypto, and why crypto is now being dubbed the stock market 2.0. The JP Morgan Chase thing says that when we do have another financial crisis, that it will not be as bad as the 2008 one. It'll be, it'll be relatively soft. Nothing will really go wrong. I am going to disagree. I'm not a financial expert. I've said that many times before. I don't look at the markets like that, especially the traditional market, so I cannot really say for myself. But when you have hundreds, if not thousands of people at this point who have left traditional finance and they're moving over to cryptocurrencies, and even a lot of the people from these other major firms and major banks are talking about that crypto is the future, I think when we do have another financial crisis or stock market crash or everything really goes nuts, it is expected, and I've heard from many other analysts over the last couple of years, and not just random people on YouTube who are just screaming into their camera, people who have actually studied finance since the 60s and 70s. They go into these television shows and they talk about it. They say it's probably going to be one of the worst things that has ever happened to the world financially that we've ever known so far. But keeping in mind, all these numbers seem to fit into each other. It's 2018. They're expecting the crash to happen in 2020. 2019 is expected to be the beginning of the beginning for Bitcoin, if that kind of makes a lot of sense. 2018 is the buildup of infrastructure. 2019 is when everything is going to take off. If we have a market crash in 2020, it's been predicted multiple times, not even from the other guy who we were just listening to, that 2020 is going to be the time where we either have $250,000 to a $1 million Bitcoin. You see what I mean? Everything kind of adds up. When you look at all the numbers, and if you ever have time, watch some of the financial analysts who are talking about where the financial markets are going, not crypto markets, actual normal markets, and then take your time and listen to what people are saying about the cryptocurrency space and the time frame that they're giving for a lot of things. Don't quote me on this number. 2019 is supposed to be $100,000 Bitcoin, and potentially by 2021, maybe, it says anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million Bitcoin. And this also coincides with the idea that in 2020, if the world starts going crazy and everyone is like, oh my gosh, we're definitely losing tons of money, everyone could start pushing their money into cryptocurrencies even more so in 2020, which would then in 2021 get us into a situation where we have $500,000 to $1 million Bitcoin. It's all very interesting to think about. At least I think so. This market crash is going to happen. No one knows when. People think it is incredibly overdue. We've never had a period like this before where there's like a hyper extended growth period, and so many analysts, typically analysts are like, I think things are somewhat undervalued. Like we have this company, but they're all coming forward and they're like, profits aren't that great, and when they are, like, some of the numbers might be inflated, and they're like, we probably shouldn't have this much money flowing into the market, especially when they are expecting some type of a crash. Anyway, I'll move on. The time frames are always very interesting to me. 2018 has flown by. 2019 is not far away, and 2019 will probably also go by before any of us even realize it. And I think 2020 is probably going to be, at least for me, one of the scariest years in the entire world, because there's so many things predicted that are supposed to happen, especially with Bitcoin and the financial markets and crises and just all these other things that are kind of mixed together. It's a little terrifying. So forgive me in advance, a year and a half from now in 2020, if I just sound terrified every single video that I make, because a lot of stuff has been predicted, and let's see if it actually all ends up happening. Next up, the CEO of Binance, Changpeng Zhao, without reading into the entire thing, he said in an interview that he thinks that the cryptocurrency space is going to continue growing. He sees that there's a lot of growth for it. And he was asked, like, what do you want from the cryptocurrency space? Like, what, after all of this, like, what would you kind of expect? He said by the end of it, he said he hopes that he can be called the guy who helped the world adopt cryptocurrency. There's also a quote somewhere down there. It says he wants to be the guy, his name is usually shortened as CZ. And he was like, I'd like to be known as CZ, the guy who helped a little. I guess it's kind of nice. I like the Binance CEO. I like how open he is and stuff like that. Let's see. I have a feeling the fact that Binance is already so large, I have a feeling he's probably going to go down in history books as one of the people to actually like start the adoption of like mainstream cryptocurrencies, especially because of all the stuff that Binance has been talking about doing and expansions, and they want to open up what they say, like at least 2 cryptocurrency exchanges in every continent around the world. Oh, somebody also mentioned in the comment section, they were like, are we going to have a crypto exchange in Antarctica? Yes, I'm pretty sure that one of Binance's goals is to make sure that the world has at least 2 cryptocurrency exchanges in Antarctica for the 60 research developers who live there looking at penguins. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I don't know if that comment was a joke, but it was like there were people like arguing beneath it. Anyway, that is the Binance news. Next up, 1 second. There we go. So I'll read through this a little bit. BitCasino.io, a pioneer online casino known for its love for innovation, has recently introduced a new payment option for its customers. The casino has integrated Ethereum with a mobile fast cashier to allow the players to make bets, deposits, and withdrawals in Ether, one of the most popular cryptocurrencies in the world. They also said that BTCXE, the brand new and sizzling cryptocurrency converter that turns fiat money into bitcoins, is finally available as well. This is once again not paid advertisement. I know a lot of people on the channel have mentioned before that they like casinos. They like casinos where they can play with cryptocurrencies and potentially win in cryptocurrency. So if you are wondering, or you are looking to, if you play on casinos online and in general already, and you were looking to use Ethereum and or possibly win Ethereum, or I don't exactly know what this is, BTCXE, cryptocurrency converter turns fiat money to Bitcoin. I assume there's something where you send them money or you transfer money from your bank account. I'm not exactly sure what exactly it is, but this is the anytime that especially any major cryptocurrency gets accepted somewhere else, I think it's kind of cool because it only adds to the liquidity of the market. Last year saw the explosions of ICOs, but the prevalence of scam projects and growing scrutiny is seeing interest in them diminish. As the crypto space matures, there is a growing interest in projects that meet certain criteria for investors and also regulators. Trevor Koverko, who is the CEO of Polymath, believes the slow death of ICOs is opening the door for the next big revolution in the cryptocurrency space: security tokens. With regulation stalling and the growing realization that it's necessary if cryptos are to be accepted by the mainstream, security tokens are inevitable. It says, but security tokens are harder, take longer, and are mostly costly to launch than utility tokens. On top of this tedious process, few crypto exchanges will list the tokens, as it may involve or invite scrutiny from regulators. The SEC already labels many of the existing tokens as securities, and whether issuers like it or not, they will have to start thinking along the same lines. This is why, once again, Coinbase and other places are applying for their security licenses, license I, simply because they want to be able if all ICOs have already been deemed securities and you want to list these coins on your website or cryptocurrency exchange, you know, if you actually look through the amount of ICOs that we've had over the last year and a half, and you look at how many coins that haven't had ICOs, there's kind of slim pickings when it comes to like what you can actually have on your cryptocurrency exchange. So I'm going to assume that a lot of other places are also going to try and become authorized security dealers or handlers, and so that they're actually able to list security token offerings as well. Because as of now, what's going to end up happening is that it's going to be really difficult. And I'm going to put it to you as blunt as possible. If your coin is labeled a security and if your coin has no actual utility, as in, you know, it's not used for anything on your platform except for being there because it looks and sounds cool, and you had an ICO especially, and you are labeled a security, the only way for you to potentially make money is to pray that Coinbase lists you, or that your project is large enough for you to be able to be listed on a stock exchange, as securities, bonds, mutual funds, and hedge funds, and sometimes real estate, are securities. And if exchanges are going to be staying away from you because you're a security, you have to hope that your project is so large and potentially worth billions that you are going to be then listed on some type of a stock exchange around the world that is going to have you. And this is why I said before, pay attention to where you have your money. It's important to do your own research, because I'm certain a lot of people out there have their money in coins that were ICOs that are probably going to be securities. Not all ICOs, or rather the coins that come from them, there are a lot of people who have made sure that they listed certain things on their website to be able to get around this. I'm not from the SEC, so don't even listen to me. But like I said, if you have your money in something, this is just how I feel, my personal feelings, in something that was an ICO, and I don't even know how to formulate this. You'd better be sure that your project is going to take over the world so that it can be listed on a stock exchange as a company, because security tokens from an ICO means that you are actually owning part of the actual company that you are buying or have bought the coins from. I.e., if you had, like, let's say there was like Plopo coin or something like that from the Plopo agency, and you actually own a Plopo coin, you own a part of their entire business and company and corporation. Like, you own a fraction of it. So this is, I mean, it's going to get, and I try to tell people, everyone here is an adult, so we all have our own ideas as to how things are going to work in the world. Like I said, I am not a master of finance, so I cannot give you an exact answer for everything. I wish I could. But as far as what we've been reading from the CFTC and the SEC when it comes to all of these tokens, a lot of coins are going to collapse, and they're going to collapse very, very fast. And even the ones that a lot of people are kind of like betting on, I'm not going to say any like numbers. I usually talk about coins below like number like 40 and stuff like that. Unless your coin is like an actual utility token, like it is actually being utilized on the platform, like it is necessary. Like, you need this token in order for this function to work on your platform. A lot of these coins are going to collapse, and the backwards collapse that I've been talking about is going to happen, wherein the money from these other tokens is simply going to slide and cascade into probably the top 10, top 15 coins. And I still believe, me myself, that these are going to be the coins that we are probably going to have around for a very long time. That's just at least how I feel about it. Next up, a recent incident confirms that government websites in India have become the target for crypto jacking. The Indian government has been unknowingly helping hackers make money off of their websites, stated a report published by the India Times. According to a report, a total of 119 India websites have been infected by malware that allows unauthorized mining of cryptocurrencies. An analysis conducted by cybersecurity researchers shows that government websites like the Director of Municipal Administration, that name, Municipal Corporation, and Kerala Municipality are among the hundreds infected. Speaking to the media, a Guwahati-based security researcher, Indrajit Bhuyan, said that cryptojacking has become fashionable among hackers. In his words, he said hackers target government websites for mining cryptocurrencies because these websites get high traffic and mostly people trust them. Earlier, we saw a lot of government websites getting defaced or hacked. Now injecting cryptojackers is more fashionable as the hackers can make more money. It's kind of interesting that this is happening in I wonder, how much do you want to bet? And this is just how I feel about all of this. India has been so negative to cryptocurrencies, especially over the last 5 or 6 months. We were told 3 times, I am not in India, we were told 3 times that we were going to get proper clarification as to exactly what cryptocurrencies are. Every single deadline, the Indian government has said, "Oh, okay, yeah, like we'll push it down a couple of months." But every time they said that they would push it down the next couple of months, that was like deadline. It was all we just had a couple of days ago as well, where the Indian government said that that was the final deadline, but they also hadn't figured out anything, so they're going to push it back even further. What if this is like retaliation from someone? Wouldn't that be really? And I mean, it kind of logically, at least how I feel about it, it seems interesting that you would. There have been people in the comment section below who've been very upset as to the situation that's happening in India. So I can almost imagine that a lot of the people who are probably responsible for this are people kind of like, I'm going to get my crypto whether you like it or not kind of thing. Kind of interesting. I'm pretty sure this is happening all over the place. There are a lot of other governments the last couple of months who were mentioning that this is actually not, well, I was going to say not out of control, but I guess it kind of is out of control. People are using a lot of like public Wi-Fi as well. So if you live somewhere where there's public Wi-Fi, there's probably about a 65% chance that one of your devices has been used, at least while it was on that website or on that public Wi-Fi, to be able to mine cryptocurrencies. This has been happening in a lot of like coffee places and stuff. This happened in Starbucks as well. I mean, in some inadvertent way, you're contributing to the growth of cryptocurrencies, but you're also making a lot of people a lot of money. And just kind of how it goes. And I'm pretty sure India is not the only government that's also going through these issues. But that's really just how it is right now. We live in a world where crypto jacking, as it's called, is very popular, very profitable. There was something from the people who were mining Monero from, was it like open Starbucks Wi-Fi or something? It was something that happened a couple of months ago. They were making, I think, like $100,000 a week or something like that, and that's a pretty big incentive. And I mean, it's just the world that we live in now. So yeah, without even having to read through all of this, there was a developer who says that he's created something called Proof of Life, which he believes is the way to be able to still deal in cryptocurrencies post-apocalypse. They have his name somewhere down here. Where's his name? His name is Daniel Jones, and they also have his Twitter name or something like that somewhere. Nixops, Nixops on Reddit. He pretty much says that he created something with a portable hard drive, a solar battery pack, and a shortwave radio in order to be able to still deal in cryptocurrency or be able to send transactions through blockchain when the world ends, should the world end. I'm not exactly sure what his intention was, but it's kind of cool that this is actually even possible. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility, especially if he's using radio waves. But I feel if we end up in a situation where the world looks like this, I probably would be looking for food and not really caring about how to send my Bitcoin or how to store my Bitcoin. That's just personally how I feel. But I mean, the fact that someone even figured this out is kind of genius. Typically, when people figure out things like this, it usually leads to some other type of like invention that we never really ever thought of before. For those who do not know, a little history lesson, the person who actually created Wi-Fi was actually a Hollywood actress like many, many years ago. She created it because the world was at war. It was World War II, I want to say, and she was trying to find a way for submarines to be able to like send messages between each other so that they could actually shoot the torpedoes. And actually, what she created is actually the system that we now use for Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So he may have created something inadvertently to prepare for post-apocalypse, but it might be a way for more secure cryptocurrency transactions. Who knows? It could be something that could revolutionize a way that we send money. Maybe we can even increase the speed of crypto transactions in that we may not have to even rely anymore. If I'm sending it to someone within my city, we could maybe even use something that he build off of this and make transactions even quicker. Wouldn't that be interesting? That's just something I just thought off the top of my head. Last, but most certainly not least, major Wall Street mainstay NASDAQ is reportedly following the lead of its peers and seeking ways to slowly enter the cryptocurrency space, and has made an offer to acquire a crypto-friendly fintech startup based in Stockholm. One of the world's largest stock exchanges, NASDAQ, has announced that it has made a public offer to Swedish fintech solutions firm Cinnober. Cinnober is a leading provider of exchange and real-time clearing technology, and their services include a high-performance trading and post-trade solution for cryptocurrency exchanges. NASDAQ will acquire Cinnober if the $190 million all-cash public offer is to be accepted by the shareholders. NASDAQ notes in a press release that it expects a 10% return on the invested capital within 3 to 5 years, assuring shareholders that the acquisition is in the company's best interest. NASDAQ says that acquiring Cinnober will strengthen its position as one of the world's leading market infrastructure technology providers. Let's see how well this works out. I don't know anything about that company. I'm sure a lot of you do not as well, unless you maybe are in Stockholm and you maybe have walked by their offices. Maybe you work for them. Hello. It's kind of interesting how quickly everyone is trying to get into the cryptocurrency space, especially when they were talking so negatively about it a couple of years ago. It seems that the mad rush or the mad dash in order to solidify yourself in the cryptocurrency space has begun, because Coinbase as of now is kind of more or less the leader. A lot of people who are into cryptocurrencies tend to not trust more traditional financial firms, but I'm pretty sure NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange are going to do whatever is in their best interest and also in their monetary interest to completely take over the market. That's at least how I feel about it. I don't foresee a future where the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ aren't doing well when it comes to trading cryptocurrencies. That's at least how I look at it. Alrighty, everyone. That is definitely going to do it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great weekend, morning, afternoon, day, wherever you are, wherever you might be. Thank you once again for watching and or listening. I do appreciate it. Thank you once again, and I'll talk to you all soon. See you.